Alright guys, Blind Spiral here to talk with the winner and the champion of our first ever Hearthstone tournament. It is none other than Brubie. Many of you guys know him from our League of Legends tournament, but for those of you that have been keeping up with our Hearthstone tournament, Brubie did just take home the title last night, defeating Storm in a 4-2 match. So, how's it going, Brubie?
It's going pretty good. How about you?
It's going very well over here as I stutter like an idiot. Told you I was nervous. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let's just talk about Hearthstone first. You're obviously in our league scene, but you just recently became the champion of Hearthstone. So tell me about your run there. And it started out with 16 people, a lot of them mostly from NGG, with a couple other people being scattered throughout. But you started out in the group stage, made it through the group stage, got all the way up to the top, and won the whole thing. So was this something you were expecting the whole time? Did you expect to come and win the entire thing, or was it just kind of something fun to do that Code Luke signed you up for?
It was something pretty fun to do. I wanted to see how good I would do. I expected to go far in the tournament. I didn't totally expect to win, because when I entered the tournament, I was somewhere around like rank 10 or rank 8 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought there would be people that were better than me. But I definitely knew I would have a chance to go all the way.
Okay, good stuff. Who did you think was your toughest opponent? I can't remember what group you were in. I think you were in the group of death, if I'm not mistaken.
I was in Group A. I was in like.
Oh, okay, you were in the easy group then. But then you popped out of their top two seeds, came out of each group, and then you played against PJ Salt in the semis, Storm in the finals, and I can't remember who you were against in the quarters. But obviously,
I believe I was against Rep, but he backed out of the
That's
tournament,
right.
So I didn't
That's
actually
right.
get to play him.
Okay, so then it was Storm and PJ Salt, plus the people in the group stage, obviously. But we already kind of agreed Group A was a bit of an easier one. So, who would you have considered to be tougher, PJ Salt or Storm there, and why?
Definitely Storm. Actually, Storm was those are the first games I lost in the entire tournament. I
Okay.
4-0'd all the groups, although two of them were running like basically free decks. So there was
Okay.
only one person with like a real dex. And the PJ Salt games, most of them were pretty close, but I just ended up having better draws and better play than he did that round. But I actually thought had a very good chance of losing against Storm towards the end there. I was stuck with Freeze Mage and Shaman were my last two decks against this Priest. And Freeze Mage can win because he was playing the Death Rival Priest, but Shaman had very little chance. So that was basically the game 7 that was right there, and it could have gone either way.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. Speaking of Shaman, while we're at it, let's talk about the bans there. Code Luke mentioned a couple times that the Shaman's been so dominant. You didn't get to play it in the last round against Storm, but you actually banned his Shaman as opposed to the Hunter and let the Hunter through. And a lot of people are kind of saying the Hunter's the best deck to go with right now. So why did you ban the Shaman over the Hunter then? Because Code Luke didn't criticize you for it, but was kind of mentioning it that he wasn't so sure about it, especially after you lost a game.
Yeah, I did drop the game of the Hunter. I was pretty confident in the Druid matchup against Hunter. I honestly expected Druid, after I beat the Zoo with the Druid, to just go all the way, and got really surprised by his losing to the Priest. I can't remember what happened, but I believe I had a core hand, and he just played it better as well. But I was confident in my Druid over the Hunter, and Hunter was a lot weaker after the Flare nerfs to 2 mana, and since I'm not running Secrets, it's definitely a weakness to it, and Druid has a lot of cards that deal with Hunter really well. Unless you get a bad draw, it's actually like a really easy matchup. And Shaman, I really had no answer to the Shaman other than winning the mirror match, because my Freeze Mage has a weaker matchup against Shaman. Shaman is notoriously good against Druid and what was the other? And Zoo. It usually beats Zoo, and I figured he would ban Hunter, which was the only other good match against Shaman, and I wasn't running Priest this time. So I was more scared of his Shaman deck, especially because it felt like that was one of the most dominant decks of the tournament so far.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now let's
He
go
was
ahead.
definitely playing it well.
Yeah, he really did. The statistics were ridiculous. I wish I had kept better track of them, but the Shaman just dominated pretty much everybody in that tournament.
I did
Especially,
manage to lose with it though.
yeah, this is true, but it's okay, Brubie. Don't worry about it. So let's flop over now to League. You got into NGG. You were on Team Blue Milk as a support. Came in midway through Season 2. Had a good run with them, kind of coming in halfway through that season. Then you flopped over to Veritas, starting your own team there in Season 3 in Generation X. And it always felt like Veritas was on the cusp of doing well, but never really got over that cliff. And then you guys now just came into this invitational. How do you think the success kind of went with the Invitational and Veritas Salutare? Because week one, you guys played against. I should know this stuff off the top of my head by now, but I don't. If you give me a moment, I'll remember who it was. It was on our stream too, so I feel like an idiot. Was it Couch Commandos? I think it was Couch Commandos you guys played against week one.
Possibly. I remember Teardown was week 2. That was the game lost, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. But how do you think that you guys played in it?
I was actually a little bit disappointed that we lost in the second round there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were a better team than that. We're definitely a lot better than we were last season. We made a really poor call for a dragon fight, and then that snowballed the game in their favor. And then we got caught out a couple times because we really let up on our vision control. And I think we were the better team, but we did lose that one.
Mm-hmm. So talk about the new lineup then, because the lineup changed between Season 3 and the Invitational. You've added a couple new players. Right now it's Ultimate Trainer is the new top laner, D-Meister is the new support. You've swapped over to mid from support. Grumpy Vegan's at 80 carry. And is it Dreamweaver at jungle? Is that who it is?
It's jungle.
Okay.
I can't remember.
See, I told you I actually know stuff, but
I can't remember the lineup during last split, but we did have Trainer. Trainer's been our top for a couple months now, so I mean that's pretty familiar. And Dreamweaver used to be our jungler or top laner, and he had been playing support recently.
okay.
But when our mid laner and our jungler left, I swapped over to mid, which I think is better than my AD carry, and he swapped over to jungle, and we picked up D-Meister, who's like really good support. It's been working really well for us.
He's all right.
And he picked Grumpy Vegan up again. He had actually left our team for a little while after, a little bit after NGG, and so he came back, and I think our team is much better than we were, honestly. Only our bottom lane really ever performed well. A lot of the time during season 3 of NGG?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think our lineup is a lot stronger. I do think that possibly our bottom lane hadn't played together as much during that week, and me and the Dreamweaver, my jungler, were also somewhat new to our role. We'd only been playing it for a couple weeks, so that could have had some part to play in our loss.
Okay, cool. Well, then looking forward, I guess for you within Hearthstone, and then as well on top of that for Veritas Salutare coming into the next split, what are you looking forward to in the future here for Veritas and then for yourself in Hearthstone as well? Competing in more tournaments and all that good stuff. What are your expectations for the future there?
Yeah, I expect, especially after the win in Hearthstone, to be one of the premier NGG Hearthstone players or whatever. One of the best ones we got in NGG.
Mm-hmm.
Although it does seem like there are some very good players, like Chonger seems like a really strong player, and Storm, I've played against him a lot with not the decks I've been running, but with a bunch of other decks, like the GVG decks recently, and it's usually really back and forth between us. And with League, I think we have the potential to be one of the top teams in the group, and that we should be, especially with how Grumpy usually performs. Our bot lane, even in Season 3, performed really, really well. And I think now that our top and mid lane got stronger than they were last season by a fair margin, I think we should be one of the top teams. We scrimmed quite a bit with Team Blue Milk, who was one of the best teams. And I think we're like 4-1 or 5-2 or something like that. We have a really good record against them, and we played a couple games against SHG and a couple of other teams, Tortuga, and we usually do well.
Good stuff. Yeah, there's one thing that I've kind of noticed is the teams that are kind of practicing and scrimming against other NGG teams tend to have a better record in the seasons too. So we'll see if Veritas is able to make it over a hump here, maybe with Season 4, obviously, as you made yours in the Hearthstone, setting the trend now for all the future Hearthstone tournaments in NGG. So with that being said, that's going to do it here for us. Any final words or any last comments before we sign off here, Brubie?
No, I don't think so. Thanks to you and Code Luke and everyone at NGG for reopening NGG. I really love you guys' organization, and it's a lot of fun playing.
Well, we love you too, Brubie. And we love all of you who are watching this. So thanks very much, guys. If you have any questions for Brubie, go ahead and post in the comments and ask him anything you'd like. Get some Hearthstone advice. I probably need to do that myself, because I'm pretty bad. So thanks, guys, for watching. Talk to you later. Hope you have a great rest of your day.